Hello, everyone. Welcome. So I'm Ellie, the founder of and program manager for Walking Other People's Shoes. And I'm based in Brooklyn, New York. And Walking Other People's Shoes strives to empower women of color voices by providing transformative experiences through storytelling and community. And I'm glad that guys can come tonight because tonight is we're going to celebrate Women's History Month, and this is a free virtual book club for children, parents, and educators, and those who want to dive deeper into themed activities and concept around race, identity, and culture. Additionally, we will have a themed activity and snack ideas. And I just want to introduce you to our two facilitators, Mia Wenchen, and she's our main facilitator that has helped to organize all this. And she blogs on parenting, children's books, and education at pragmaticmom.com. And she's also the co-creator of the Multicultural Children's Book Day, a nonprofit that celebrates diversity in children's books. She's based in the Boston area. And then our other facilitator, who's going to come on a little bit later, is Ruth Perez, and she's our activities facilitator. She's a sophomore at Lehman College, pursuing a bachelor's in speech pathology and audiology, followed by a master's in speech pathology. And these degrees will allow her to continue her work in schools, providing extra support and speech to students with special needs. And she's based in the Bronx. So I'm so excited for you all to join us, and I'm going to pass it to Mia.
Yay. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm so excited because for March, it's Women's History Month. But I like kind of adding like Hispanic Heritage Month as well, which is usually September and October. And I just thought this was such a beautiful and really well-written book, Planting Stories, The Life of Librarian and Storyteller, Pura Belpré. And it's written by Anika Aldamuy Denise, who I know because she lives in Providence, so about an hour away. And then it's like this added like craziness because there's actually a children's book award called the Pura Belpré, and she won it. She won the honor, like the like honor book for it. And so it's like meta, it's like an award for an award about the same person. I thought that was super cool. So anyway, I also go over my giveaway. I wanted to support women-owned businesses. So the first one is this. It's called Behave. And you get this box that says, definitely not candy inside. Nothing to see here. Like, it's so fun, isn't it? And so I chose these, which are basically gummy bears. So it's small packages of, I would say, like gourmet gummy bears. And I chose the flavors passion fruit, lychee, and raspberry. And if you haven't had lychee or lychee, however you say it, my kids actually really like that. And passion fruit is one of my favorite flavors, which is actually why I chose it. And my son really likes raspberries. Yeah, I thought the packaging was awesome. But then, can't have it all be candy. So I thought I would, round it out with this women-owned business called Fusion Jerky. And I chose for you, the winner, sweet beef, artisan beef jerky. Also has a bit of a fruit theme, I think. Anyway, it's traditional Asian style jerky, which I also like. I like Asian style jerky. It's not so different from other jerky, but it does tend to be softer, and it does tend to be a little bit sweeter, not as salty. So anyway, that's my winner. Candy and beef jerky, supporting women-owned businesses for, this Women's History Month. And right, isn't this like, I just thought like the cover is just so stunning. Okay, so I'll just get started and we'll read a few pages. Beautiful end papers, which I always like a good end paper. It's just like such a beautiful, it's illustrated by Paola Escobar. And this is actually by Harper, an imprint of HarperCollins. Just thought it was like just a stunning book. So it is 1921. Pura Teresa Belpré leaves her home in San Juan for a visit to Nueva York, New York. Words travel with her, stories her abuela taught her. Cuentos folclóricos, Pura retold in the shade of a tamarind tree in Puerto Rico. I know, the most stunning. So she moves and she takes a different job. You know, she's working in a garment factory, but then something happens. Here she is working in a garment factory. Then a golden opportunity, una bendición. The library needs a bilingual assistant. Pura speaks Spanish, English, and French. She is perfect for the job. And then you can see in the illustration, like from her garment factory, right across the street is the public library. So I don't know if that's true in real life, but that's a nice way to visually show. Like, right, every page is stunning. But so she goes to the library, but where are her abuela's stories? Not one folktale from Puerto Rico is on the shelves. How lucky for the library that Pura has story seeds ready to plant and grow. And I've known her name because of the award, and I knew she was a librarian, but I didn't actually know what she did, like why she's like award named after her. And so these pages explain like exactly what she did. In the children's room, she lights the story hour candle and begins. Her eyes dance, her voice sings. Pura's words paint a picture of a little house with a round balcony where Martina, a beautiful Spanish cockroach, meets Perez, a handsome and gallant mouse. El ratoncito Perez y la cucarachita Martina, a tale from the tamarind tree. I'm sorry, my Spanish is very poor. I actually need Leanna to read it. And so she reads these stories. So she starts a story time and she reads these stories to these children that are more based, you know, on her native Puerto Rico. But that's not all that she does. She makes puppets and she does these incredible puppet shows. I don't know if your library, my library has like a puppeteer that will come like once a year. You know, they hire them and it's always like delightful. But like here she is. She made her own puppets. Families come and hear folk tales in Inglés y Español to watch Pura's puppets dance across the stage of her stories. But the library needs libros for its shelves. How can more children read Perez y Martina and other cuentos de Puerto Rico? Pura puts her story in an envelope and mails it to Frederick Warren, a publisher. Like nothing's going to stop her. You know what I mean? She's going to get those stories out there. And soon, Perez y Martina is a book, now a published author, puppeteer, and storyteller. Pura travels from branch to branch, classroom to classroom, to churches and community centers, planting her story seeds into the hearts and minds of children new to this island who wish to remember la lengua y los colores of home. So she's not the only one who's homesick. Okay, and then there's some pages that I'm just going to skip over because I don't like to read the whole story because of copyright. But she meets a very special person and she gets married, and then she's pretty occupied, you know, being married, having children. But then one day, unfortunately, he passes away. And that kind of brings her back to the library. It is 1961. Pura returns to the library. There are others now, storytellers who make puppets dance, who read Perez y Martina, the Tiger and the Rabbit, Juan Bobo, the Three Magi, and many more of Pura stories to the children. So this whole idea of like storytelling with puppets has grown because of her. Look how beautiful. And the seed she has planted, the roots that grow shoots into the open air of possibility, have become a lush landscape into which she steps as though she has never left. And then you can learn more about her. But I thought it was, like when you like write somebody's biography, it's, you know what I mean? You're always trying to not just tell it like a, like a I don't know, like a Wikipedia story. And so Anika has really built it around this idea of like a garden and seeds and planting. And then the imagery from that is so lush and beautiful. And it sort of makes sense, right? That these stories didn't exist. And she planted sort of a desire for them and had those stories multiply, all her stories, and kind of paved the way for stories from homelands like Puerto Rico. And so it is pretty incredible that she's honored with, a children's book award that honors, Hispanic and Latinx authors and illustrators. And I don't know if this is the first picture book about her, but it's actually incredible that it's so beautifully done. I mean, it would be like a shame if it wasn't, right? Because it's like her heritage, but it's so beautifully done, both the artwork and the words, like so lyrically written, that it was honored as well. So it's like, I don't know, it just feels, and Anika herself has roots to Puerto Rico. So it just feels like the right person telling the story that, I mean, I just knew her name, but I didn't know all the stuff that she did. And, I just think it's the most beautiful book too. Oh, yay, Ruth is here. So anyway, so that concludes the book talk and the snack. And now I pass it over to Ruth. Yay.
Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy March. As always, I like to share my thoughts on the book. I personally found it very touching because I'm Puerto Rican. I'm half Puerto Rican, half Dominican. But this is something that I had no knowledge of. I was like, what? This Puerto Rican woman introduced Latinx book into, New York. And I was like, that is incredible, right? And it was just something new that I got to learn. That's something that we always get to do here during our monthly book clubs. So that's why I found it amazing. So we're gonna do something today, and we're gonna use the same materials that we usually do, right? Some white paper. We're gonna need some either markers, some crayons, some color pencils, just anything that we can get to, get some color in there. And a piece of paper. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Sorry about that. Living with family. Okay. So if everybody could just give me a thumbs up when I have all the materials that they need. Yes, thumbs up. Lena's family, perfect. Danielle, a yes in the chat. Okay. So what we're gonna do today is, what I found really interesting is the picture that was presented when she first arrived into New York, right? All of the buildings, and we are celebrating Women's History Month. So I thought it would be wonderful if we can just do a little bit of recognition to the women in our lives, right? And how they have formed us and how they've helped us out. Yeah, that's the one that I loved it. That's in Puerto Rico, right? Mia? That looks like some of the Puerto Rico, yeah. That's what it looks like over there. The houses are really colorful and beautiful. So what we're gonna do is that we're going to go ahead and we're gonna draw some buildings. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start first. I just want to show you guys what it's gonna look like.
And here is Manhattan.
Yeah, here we go. And it's a little bit more dull to Puerto Rico, but you know. But now we've changed. But Puerto Rico is amazing. I was able to visit once when I was 10. I want to go back this summer, but it's lively. It's just beautiful. You know, it's a tropical. It's nice and warm. You have the trees, and it's a beautiful environment. What's not so though? Let's see.
I'll leave this up for inspiration.
So it's just a quick show of how, oh no, I don't think you guys can see because of my blur. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see? I just did like a little quick outline and I left them empty. Why? Because like I said, I want us to show some recognition to the women in our lives, right? Because they're still a part of our lives, to who we are as people. So what we're gonna do is in each side, for each building, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna write the name of one of the women in our lives. So for example, I'll write my mom, I'll write my grandma. I have a college friend, her name is Brianna, and she's been really special to me in the last few months, right? She's been helping me grow spiritually. So those are some women in my life that I want to show to recognition to because of the impact they're having in me. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and share. I already told you guys who I put on top of my building. So it's my mom, my grandmother, one of my best friends, Gabriella. She's older than me, so she's like an older sister, mentor, guiding me through life. And then I have Brianna, who I already mentioned. Does anybody want to share who they've written down on top of their buildings thus far?
I can go.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I have written 3 of my mentors' names. So I've written Adriana, Judy, and Irene. So basically, these 3 women are my mentors from school. I volunteer in a preschool, and they have been really very helpful since this is my first time volunteering and teaching kids. So yes, I think I would like to illustrate them.
Yes, that's amazing. I think it's just good, right? Sometimes we can think of these people and they come to mind, but then when you actually take time to like reflect and meditate on, who are these important people in your life and why they're important, it's a good thing to go and reflect on. And then you can also show them gratitude as well, right? Like maybe some of us can go afterwards and send like a quick text, like, hey, you're really special in my life. Thank you for all that you do. Lena's family. I'm sorry, did I pronounce it right? Do you guys want to share? No? Okay, that's fine. No worries. So what we're gonna do next is that for each, I have to unblur my screen again. Oh, Danielle, she shared. So she said she put her mom, good friend, Machiko, and my MIL.
Mother-in-law.
Oh, mother-in-law. Okay, sorry. I'm young, so I don't know what it stands for yet. Okay, that's amazing. So what we're gonna do is for each of our buildings, I showed you guys what it was looking like earlier. At the top, for the top half, what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw each person a little mini portrait on there. I think it's a really nice idea to just have like a little recollection, little mural type thing. Yeah, you see, look at the color on the book. It's amazing. It really reflects Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico is very vibrant. So I think it just reflects who she was as a person and the country itself. So pretty amazing. Alrighty, guys. So let's just go ahead and take 2 to 3 minutes to go ahead and draw some portraits. Oh, I love what Danielle wrote in the chat. I just saw it, like glanced up. She said yes to buildings because these women are our cornerstones. That's a very good word. Cornerstone. And Ellie shared, I love the building concept. The colors are beautiful in the flowers as well. Yeah. I mean, I think it's fun, right? Sometimes we don't to just do some things that seem unusual. Like I was thinking of this activity and I was like, will there be something to really honor Women's History Month? You know, I always try to find something that connects to the book. But it's sometimes just stepping out of our comfort zone and doing different things. So I'm glad that you guys like it, that you guys like this idea. Yes, that's a beautiful image. Ellie, do you want to go ahead and share any special woman in your life?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, about all the women of walking on the people's shoes, like you guys are the team that, you know, runs everything. And, you know, Mia and we've been doing this for a while now, and it's just inspired, and, you know, you guys really courage and believe in the vision, what we're building. So I think these are the people I admire that I work with. So yeah.
Okay, yes. Yes, Mia. Mia's awesome. She actually sent me an email this week where she shared an article with me, like on a speech pathologist that sat next to an autistic child for like 8 hours. And it was just great. I was like, you know, this is how women help each other grow, right? It's like walking the talk, you know, like, yeah, let's help women grow, but then also demonstrating with actions. I was really touched by that, by that.
It was this article about this woman pathologist, speech pathologist, who was on a plane with a nonverbal child. And the dad's like, oh, sorry, but like, it's going to be a long flight. He doesn't talk and he hits and blah, blah, blah. And the woman's like, no problem. Like, this is my field. And she figures out he's just frustrated because he can't communicate. And so he's not like, there's something like screens don't work for him. So it's kind of like this woman, she kind of just draws symbols and teaches him how to communicate. And by the end of the flight, she's like solved like all his frustration, but it's because she's a speech pathologist. And I can totally see Ruth being that kind of person, because that's what she wants to do, where you like literally change a whole family's life by just, you know what I mean? Like teaching them tools that they didn't know about. Yeah. I mean, that nonverbal boy's world is transformed. The father had no idea that the kid was acting out because he just couldn't say like, I want apple juice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so true.
Leanna has something to share.
Oh, do you want to go ahead? Okay. Let's see. Do you want to guide us through? It's a little bit blurry.
Are you muted, Leanna?
Oh, mic problems. Alrighty, no worries. Do you want to just write in the chat really quickly who you put on your buildings?
Mom, I think mom is on there. And
Yeah,
kid.
yes, we're
And
getting our
Ira.
Spanish in there. Yes. Grandma. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And Mama Pat, other grandma. Yeah, grandmas are amazing. It's like they just give us a whole, they just bring down another generation to us. Like my grandma tells me stories too. She tells me these crazy stories, and sometimes I'm like, are they even true? But it's just, some stuff from like her childhood. Like I have my grandma, she's from the Dominican Republic, and just she lived through the time of Trujillo. I don't know if you guys know of that history, but basically like a dictator in the Dominican Republic and how that was for her. Like she's of a lighter complexion, so it was easier for her compared to other people who were, darker complexion, since she really got to experience and see some of those things. So, yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just show you guys really quickly. It is, yeah, it's blurry on my end. But what I did is I drew my mom, my grandmother, my friend Gabriella. Like I said, she's like a big sister to me, sister from another mother, and Brianna. So now what we're gonna do is under each of these portraits, well, let me see. Sorry, I want to read this. So Rizika put in the chat. My grandma has thousands of trees in her garden back in India. I love spending time there. Yeah, there's just something different about going to like our motherland or home country. Like just escaping this. I mean, the city is wonderful, right? Like there's people of so many cultures here and so many things that you can experience. But it's just going back to your roots, like seeing like part of where you're from. That's amazing.
And then Rosika also had a compliment for Leanna's daughter. She said, wow, it's a giant, beautiful building. Awesome drawing.
Yes. Strong woman. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to, under portraits, we're gonna write down, it can be in bullet point form, just writing down why these women are important to us. So my mom, like where do I even start, right? Like she's amazing. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for her. Like she's opened the door of opportunities to me, encouraging me, motivating me, and always pushing me, right? So just some things for my mom, my grandmother, like I said. What's not to love about grandmas, right? They're also your motivator, your supporters. They make you delicious meals. They always try to keep your heart content. And my friend Gabriella, guiding me. She's already been through college. She has a family of her own. So there's so many things I can learn from her. And then my friend Brianna, who I said, she was like she's been helping me grow spiritually. So that's something that's really important in my life. And that's why she's been an important person to me. So those are just some things to just get your mind rolling. You guys can just put under those portraits in your building.
Danielle says, I'm seeing these points as windows in my buildings.
Oh, that's a good one.
On the floor.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna incorporate that into mine. Mia, do you want to share some special woman in your life?
Sure. Okay, so my mom passed away in 2019. And she was close to 96, so she led a long, full life. But I got a letter from one of her like girlfriends, like she grew up in San Francisco's Japantown, before World War II. And I got this letter, like just from an old friend. And the friend wrote, your mom, for like the decades I've known your mom, she never said anything bad about anybody. And I was like, how's that even possible? But then I was like, no, that's true. Like, she doesn't say anything bad about anybody. And, you know, she grew up Buddhist and she taught at the Buddhist temple. And it's probably like I was a little bit Buddhist, but not as Buddhist as my mom. So I think it's part of the religion. But I don't know too many people that can go like even a week and not have something critical. Like I can't, you know, complain about someone or, you know, even driving, like a total stranger, like you're just like super annoyed. She like, even if she was unhappy with someone, she'd just be silent. And I was like, man, that's like Zen discipline, you know?
Wow,
And
that's
so my brother-in-law, like after my mom passed away, we have this sort of little mantra where like, if you hit like sort of a decision point in your life, you're like, what would Grandma Rose do? Like, how would she handle it? Because it's usually with kindness, you know,
yeah.
which wouldn't be my immediate way I would handle it. But usually if you go, how would Grandma Rose handle it? Like we make better decisions that way, or I make better decisions that way to slow down and think about how my mom would handle it. So
Wow, that's amazing. That is so interesting. That's just wow. I strive to live as long as your mother did. 96, that's a full life right there. That's my goal. I'm 20, so I have like 70 more years to go. But that's setting the standard there. Alrighty. I mean, thank you, Mia, for sharing. I think you really helped us out there. And it's really wonderful. Does anybody want to go ahead and share what they wrote in their buildings? Or put it in the chat. So Danielle put, I always try to remember everyone is dealing with tough issues and deserves patience. Ooh, I agree with that. Right, walking other people's shoes. You don't know what a person is going through in life. Sometimes you just see the person, but sometimes in the moment you have to think, okay, maybe this person is acting this way because of something else. Doesn't mean what sometimes people's attitude, you know, being rude is always right. Like, yo, I work in retail. Sometimes I'm like, Lord, give me patience. Like you have people that are just rude to you. And I'm like, okay, maybe something happens in their day and this is why they're acting this way. So I just give them bright smile. I'm like, yes, how can I help you? And a lot of the times those people, they end up not being rude and they just, you know, they're thankful. And then you have people who aren't, they just continue in their ways. But that's a really good way of thinking about it. So
that's a nice tie-in to walking in other people's shoes.
Yes.
Our host. And the whole point of the community that Ellie has been building for years. Yeah. Supporting women, really. It's like supporting other women.
Yeah, I agree. Does anybody want to go ahead and share what they put in their building, like I said? Rizika, do you want to go ahead and share?
Sure, I can do that. So as I told you, I wrote the names of my mentors at school, and I just realized we all four are from different cultures. So I was talking about Adriana, she's from Puerto Rico, and she speaks Spanish. The second one, she's Afro-American, and the first one, she's a white American. And so I've been in the US like for just a year. And I never thought I would get so much of love and so much of, you know, I could communicate with people. That's the best thing for me. And these three have been such an inspirational women for me because they are very approachable. Every day I go to school, I'm greeted with a hug. So that's really it. Reminds me of my mom back in India. And we can always talk over and joke over kids because we are teachers, and so I get to talk silly things. So I guess I have a very good women group in US, which I don't want because I stay with my husband. So it's good to have women around.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's so important, especially like in the work field, to have like a woman group like pushing you through. So that's amazing. Glad that you have that, because sometimes it can take people a while to find that.
Yes.
Does anybody want to go ahead and share?
Oh, I see Anika's coming on right on time.
Alrighty, perfect, y'all. Well, it was wonderful doing this activity with you, and I hope that y'all truly enjoyed it. And like I said, go ahead and thank the women in your life for what they've done, right? Maybe Rizika, when you see them, so I don't know when you volunteer, but when you see them the next time, you go ahead and say, like, I really appreciate you and having you in my life. For Leanna's kids, like grandma or Tia, giving them a big ol' hug and thanks.
That's such a nice idea. It's always like a great reminder, Ruth. Like when we do the activity, it's a lot of it's around gratitude and appreciation. It's always a welcome message. So thank you so much for leading us through this. Well, welcome, Anika. I think you're muted, so maybe we can have you unmute.
Yes.
Welcome. We just went
Hola.
gorgeous book, and then I was just like, she wrote it about this librarian, and she's got the award that's in her name, and
I
it's
know,
kind
it's
of a meta
It's so
experience.
meta. That's what I
But
was just
also,
gonna say.
high pressure, right? So I just wanted to know more about the story behind the story. What made you decide to write the story? Did you feel a lot of pressure knowing that she's already sort of this luminary in the children's book world? And also, just like, how did you get that? Like, your writing is so beautifully lyrical. How did you get the metaphor to, like, sort of turn the whole book around these like story seeds? And so
Yeah,
just
well,
a few of my questions.
yeah. The first question is, did I feel a lot of pressure? Yes, in some ways, yes, because she's so beloved, and especially in the library community, especially to Latinos, especially in New York City, she's a legend, and that was not lost on me. But I also have a personal feeling and connection to her because her stories were something that I grew up with, right? So I didn't necessarily know her life story, but I knew the cover of the book, Perez y Martina, which I got out from the library with my titi, and that this was an author, or these were stories that were familiar to me. It was lovely and a journey to then research her life. And as I was researching, I tried to kind of keep that. I wanted to write the story. I tried to kind of keep the pressure out of my brain and just enjoy learning about her. And one of her most famous quotes is that she wanted to be like Johnny Appleseed. She wanted to plant her story seeds across the land. So I remember reading that. I had heard it, but then I was actually in the archives at Centro, the Center for Puerto Rican Studies in New York City. They have a wonderful treasure trove of her papers, of her puppets, of recordings of her. And I just, when I was sitting there and I read that quote, I kind of started to see that metaphor take shape. And then I thought, well, wouldn't it be lovely to have that thread through the book? And also I didn't have an illustrator yet, but could see that also playing out in the illustrations. And Paula did such an amazing job of bringing that metaphor through visually too. So that's how I stumbled on that. And the whole book really rests on that premise of planting and renewal, so that's how I got there.
It is like the most gorgeous cover. I mean,
Isn't it?
every spread is gorgeous, but
Oh,
it is just like, and it matches the beautiful lyrical writing. Like you also, it's like, there's no, I'm surprised you didn't win the gold one. You know what I mean?
oh, thank you.
Really is just,
Thank you.
and so did you read her actual, like, so when she published her book, was that the actual book you checked out as a child with
Yes.
Lita? Like
Yes.
the one by her?
Yes, she has many books, but that's the one I remember the most.
Oh, that's such a, like, that's
Yeah,
she's
I
like
have a
looking
library
down
copy.
on
It's on
you.
my shelf. I should have pulled it out.
Like, you're literally one of the seeds that she planted.
Yes, yeah, and it was one of the first times that I understood or recognized that there were folktales that were different than the folktales that I knew, different than Hans Christian Andersen, different than what I had traditionally kind of thought was folktale. And it was really my auntie who's a collector of, she lived to be 97. She passed a few years ago. She's my great auntie. I spent a lot of time with her. And she was, really a bibliophile and loved collecting books and loved collecting folktale collections. I have some of hers that she passed down to me, but these were specific to a kind of cultural storytelling that I didn't really have exposure to. And I definitely remember feeling like, oh, this is different. This reflects us, but when Titi would read those, there's some songs in it and she would sing the songs in Spanish. And I remember like that being this connection through books, and it's that beautiful connection of diverse books and multicultural books, like where you go, oh, this is a different kind of storytelling. Even though it's folktale, and even though it was about a little mouse and a cockroach, I could see, a little bit more of our family and our language in it. So it felt really different and powerful in a way that I was little, so I don't know if I could articulate it. I can now, but there was something fun about that story. So it stuck with me, and the cover stuck with me, so that when I was walking, the moment that I got the idea to write this book, I was in the New York Public Library. The main branch had a exhibition of children's books. I think it was called the ABC of it, Why Children's Books Matter. And of course, they had a lovely section dedicated in the New York Public Library, where she worked for many years, had a lovely section dedicated to Pura, Belpré. And I remember standing there and seeing her book under glass with some of her puppets and going, oh, that's the cover of the book that I remember taking out from the library, So it was a moment where I thought, oh, I'm connecting to these old stories from my childhood. And I also really want to learn more about her, because clearly there is more to her story that I don't know. So that was really powerful and really fun, to learn about her as an author, as a writer, as a woman, as a wife, because I talk about how she was in the book, she was married to the musician Clarence Cameron White. And what that was like for her, managing this budding career with another really creative musician who traveled all around the world. It was really lovely to dive into all aspects of Pura Belpré, not just her as the storyteller, but her as a whole person. So.
And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Queens. In New
Okay,
York
so
City.
you're also connected to New York then.
Yes, yeah. I don't live there now. I'm up here in Rhode Island now.
Yeah, no, I knew you were in Providence now.
Yeah, so
I wasn't sure where you grew up, like where the.
Yeah, no, I'm in New York. I still call myself, even though I've been here as long as I was in New York, I still call myself a New Yorker. It's just like it's in me,
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't think that ever goes away.
No,
And
it
I always just knew her name from the awards, but I had no idea she was, making puppets and doing puppet shows, and I didn't know she was an author. Like I didn't know the whole middle part of your book, like all of it actually. And for me, she was just like a shiny sticker and a way to make sure like, oh, these are all the good Latinx books, like make sure you're aware of them. But she was just like, I was just saying, like nothing could stop her. Like she just was this like energy and can do and creativity, and she made it all look easy. It seemed like, just like creativity is flowing out of her, make your own puppets, do a puppet show.
Exactly. Like if she couldn't figure something out, or if something didn't exist for her, she figured it out, she just, even with her not having a book to read at story time and thinking, okay, this book isn't on the shelves yet, I'm just going to tell the story and I'm going to use puppets, and that evolved into a really beautiful bilingual story time that is now recreated in libraries everywhere and important. And she really started that out of just like, okay, well, this is what I know how to do. I'm a storyteller. I come from a family of storytellers. I can I can do this. So she was like a rule breaker in many ways, and
But I got the feeling she was
definitely a
gracious
pioneer.
about it, right? Like she's a rule breaker, but she's
Yeah.
not making anyone angry.
No,
And she's in a
I don't
pretty
think so.
structured environment, and she's just doing all kinds of creative stuff. And it's just like amazing that, you know what I mean? People are like, wait, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
what's every Wednesday?
She came up in the library system at the time where they were really hiring bilingual storytellers from all different backgrounds, right? And she was like the Puerto Rican hire. She was the
Yeah.
Latina who would connect. But even among that group, she really was she was a star who really had so much energy. She was an advocate and an activist, for book access and diverse books.
Like back, she's the
100 years
OG,
ago.
back in the day,
Yeah, back in the day.
and trilingual to boot.
Yeah.
Incredible.
She's
Well, thank you so much for writing this book. It's just
Oh,
like it's such
thank you for reading it and sharing it.
tribute, So I want to know, like, when you found out you got an honor award, how did that, like, what happened? Like, did you celebrate or?
It was funny
for real?
because I honestly, because it was like we were talking about it being meta, I was like, well, it's probably not, there was a book about her, The Storyteller's Candle, which is a lovely book, published by Lee and Low years before this book, and it had won I think an honor, a Belpré honor. And so I was thinking, well, they probably won't award it again. You talk yourself out of it because you don't want to hope for anything. And I didn't really even know how it worked. I had thought like the phone calls come in the morning. They don't now, they come the day before. But so I wasn't like waiting around for my phone to ring. My cell phone kept ringing, and I think it was ALA was maybe in Chicago that year. I can't remember now, but it was not matching, and I just thought it was spam. I didn't answer it literally the first like 4 times because I was making dinner for the kids. I have 3 kids.
Time difference. There's a time difference.
Being mommy. And so then my daughter was like, your phone keeps ringing, and I finally picked it up, and I heard voices, and I was as soon as you pick it up, then you're like, oh, this is actually happening. And I cried. I cried, and thanks
smiling down on you, like,
yeah, it was so amazing. They have everyone in the room cheering, and it was a room full of Latina librarians, and it just felt so good. Yeah, it felt really,
it was
really
the hug. It was like the hug everyone wanted, like a virtual hug everyone wanted to give you, or
right. Yeah, it was cool. I was a highlight, one of the best moments of being an author. You do this for not for awards, but that moment of recognition from within your community feels
and a specific slice of the community that
Exactly.
and you're trying to represent them.
Exactly.
And you did it with, like, they're so proud of you for what you did.
It felt good. Yeah.
So what are you working on now? You must have stuff in the works.
Yes, I should have it here. I don't even have my I can see it. It's far away that way. It's in my office. I should have held it up.
Yeah, you can grab it. Hold it up. Yeah. Grab it, hold it
Okay.
up.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait. So you don't see me actually get up. I'm just going to turn off my
Yeah.
camera really quick, and I will
'Cause
get.
we love covers, I feel like once we see the cover,
I will get the cover of the book that
we'll like
literally.
recognize it when we go to the library, or it's
Yeah,
like
it just
something
came
amazing.
out. It's called Gato Guapo, Handsome Cat. I wanted to just, well, first of all, I love my cat. He's a lovely, cuddly tabby cat who's very handsome. And I really love those young counting books. One of my favorite, or just books with like refrain and repetition. And one book that I read with my daughters over and over again was Caps for Sale.
Oh, I love that book.
Which is like the best, it's such a classic.
And there's like a sequel. Did you know there's actually a sequel to that?
No, I had no
Yeah,
idea.
no one knows about it. Go
Okay, I have to look it up.
The author. Like, there's another one. Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
had no idea.
I only found out recently.
That is so also cats.
And I read that as a child, like
right,
50
exactly.
years-
A
literally
childhood
50 years ago.
favorite. My kids would be like, you monkeys, you give me back my caps. You know, we used to say that. And so I had this idea about sort of a bilingual version of that, but with counting. And so the little gatitos each take, he's, as you can see, Guapo is dressed so
Hi, Dapper.
dapper, right? And he has all these accessories, and one by one, the gatitos like steal his glasses and he's counting them, and he's, you know, so it was kind of a little bit inspired by the monkey stealing the caps in Caps for Sale with a bilingual twist. So that's how, and it is a really just fun read aloud. I haven't done fiction in a while. I've been writing picture book biographies, one after the other. It was super fun. And I should say the illustrations are by Zara Gonzalez Huang, and she's brilliant. And she had so much fun drawing these little gatitos. She even like did really fun things in the end papers where she did little portraits of each of the cats. She added stuff in. It's one of those books, almost like there's like a Richard Scarry like quality where you can find things in the illustrations, which is another one of my childhood favorites. So
What are your other picture book biographies?
I have a girl named Rosita about Rita Moreno.
Okay. Yeah.
And phenomenal.
She's a singer or an actress or both?
She's actually, the title of the book is, hold on, I'll get that one too.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry.
Hold on, let me pull that one
I
out.
know the name.
Here's
but-
the Spanish version, actually. Una niña llamada Rosita. A girl named Rosita, and it's actor, singer, dancer, trailblazer. So,
Okay. Good.
so yeah, she did it all.
I love the cover.
Obviously, my theme is, you know, to write about sort of powerhouse Puerto Ricanas, right?
Oh, I didn't know.
And so I also have phenomenal AOC
Oh yeah, I think
about
I know
Alexandria
that one.
Ocasio-Cortez,
That's awesome.
who is represents Queens and the Bronx,
That's right.
so we're from the same
She would
area.
have been your rep, right? Or if you had still stayed.
Yeah, she would have been my rep if I lived where I lived when I grew up. I'm much older than her, so
But you would have voted for her.
but it was really fun to actually sort of go back to the Bronx and go back to Queens and to talk about her roots, because that's really the theme of the book. It's the roots and rise of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So no matter where you are on the political spectrum, if you're a fan or if you're not, I happen to be a fan of hers. But you know, it's really about her taking what she learned in her community and bringing that to her leadership and really trying to help her community. So it's inspirational, and it won. Speaking of Belpré, the illustrator, who is Loris Lora, just won a Belpré honor for illustration for this book. So I don't have any stickers on it, but this book will have nothing to do with me, but but her illustrations have earned the book a sticker, which is so cool.
And AOC went to Boston University, so I'm going to claim a little piece of her here in Boston.
That's right. That's right. Now, my daughter's at BU.
Oh, okay.
I have one there right now.
Does anyone have any questions? I don't want to hog all the time with Anika.
Questions about my cat, Charlie?
I see Ruth.
I have a cat. Her name is Olivia. Olivia left. I would have showed her, but I have a little kitty.
Oh, Olivia, come show her. I know my cat
I'll get
never
Olivia.
gets on camera.
Oh yeah, I'll come back. I'm gonna do, if anybody wants to ask any questions, well, I'll go get Olivia.
Okay, awesome. We love pets on Zooms.
Well, I just want to say thank you for coming. I loved this book a lot because I didn't know anything. And like every book that we feature, I feel like I'm always learning something that like we all should have known, but we don't. And I think it's just great that now I can share, hey guys, you know about this librarian.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, like fact that we can actually share it with people that live here in New York where they might not know. So I think it's a great book to refer people to and get them interested in, be like, you know, a little history, you know, it matches perfectly for Women's History Month is your book. So I loved it. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you
and
so
it's not
much.
your fault you don't know. Like, we are not taught this.
Exactly. It's
Not
crazy.
in our textbooks. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, you'd have to learn it on your own. And it wasn't that accessible. There weren't a lot of books about her. Like, how would you have known? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that I love that. I like when people say to me, you know,
Katie.
that's the point. That's why you write the book, right? So that you can tell people who don't know her story. So every time someone says, I discovered her through your book, and then I went and looked at her books, and then I went and read more about her. That's that beautiful, like, it's a gateway to learning more about these phenomenal women, right? So that's what it's all about.
I love it. Thank you.
Okay, I saw Olivia pop up. Oh,
She's so cute.
what? Oh, you're on
Oh,
mute.
you're muted, Ruth.
Tell us about.
Well, it's Olivia. She's 2 years old. I took her in for my cousin, because her cat had a litter, and I was like, I want her to go to a good home. So she's a princess here. My mom buys her everything. She eats like canned food every day. So she used to have green eyes when she was a baby, but now they're like caramel. That's why we named her Olivia. I actually ran out of my room to go and look for her, but she was already in here.
That's
Like Olivia, and she was like looking at me from my room. She's like, I'm right here.
I'm here. She's beautiful. What a
Olivia could be a story right
oh,
there.
yeah.
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 Right there.
What a tiny kitty.
Well, we're up on 8:02, so we're slightly over, but let me quickly just talk about next month. Next month, April, Autism Awareness Month, and we have Wiggle Stomps and Squeezes Calm My Jitters Down by Lindsay Rowe Parker, illustrated by Rebecca Burgess. And I'm giving away a box of fidgets. So a good way to, I don't know, like just, you know, more empathy and understanding for people that, you know, have neurodiverse learning differences, and just a fun way to know how, for anyone who's fidgety as well, like even if they're not neurodiverse. So I hope you guys will come next month for April.
And then we got a winner for our giveaway.
Yes, which it's this, and then Anika, just so you know, it's women-owned businesses. So
I
it's
love that.
turkey
I saw
and
that.
it's gourmet candy, because you know it can't just be candy.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant.
It's a lot of jerky. It's a lot of candy. You need a full family. You need a family to eat it all. I don't want anyone to get sick. So da da da.
Dun, dun, dun. The winners are, well, you know, a lot of these are regulars, so these are you're going to win again. So I think I'm trying to remember if you guys are vegan or because I didn't want to send you beef jerky if you're not able to eat it, but you
It's
can always
gluten-free
give it away.
Gluten-free.
Maybe you can give it away, but it's for the Leanne family.
Leanna, yay!
Oh,
And they also have Latinx connections, right? Because they have a connection to Ecuador. Is that right? So Ecuador,
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Yeah.
oh, Costa Rica. Oh yeah, sorry. So so I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Ruth also.
Yeah. I think this is also gluten-free. Very low calorie too. And not a lot of sugar. So
I
Leanna
see
will
excited
roll it
jumping
out.
up and down.
I promise not to over sugar your children.
Well,
Thank you,
Books and
everyone.
snacks. You can't go wrong with books and snacks.
Yes. Thank
exactly.
you all for
Thank you
coming.
so much for everyone to come. I appreciate all you, and I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the Women's History Month.
Yes, let's
It just
celebrate.
started, so it's a lot of activities, lots of different events that you guys can attend. So enjoy the rest of the month.
This was
You
so
too.
fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting me pop in.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
So-
for coming in. We learned so much from you.
We did.
Thank you.
Bye.